The end draws near, but it is not quite there yet. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the penultimate round of the Tier 2 Championship for SLR. I'm your host, Lover Lars, and with me, a different face in the comm box today, it's Christian.
Toodaloo.
Toodaloo, that's what you say when you're going. He's away already, see you, mate. You'll notice we're looking at the point standings, though, because we are loading into the lobby, but we have a very close-knit championship, actually, despite the way the season started. Basco could be on the verge of winning the title today. By our calculations, and by ours I mean mine, apologies if the math is wrong, he needs second place to absolutely guarantee the championship regardless of what happens. But obviously a lot can happen in this race. If Smelto or Larson don't score, if they win, if Basco doesn't score, so we'll try and work out things as we go. But the bottom line is, if Basco gets second, no matter what happens, he wins the title here today. And speaking of being here today, we are here on a very, very wet track. Good lord, look at that. That's torrential rain right there.
This is gonna be fun.
This is going to be fun. So what a way to set up a potential championship victory for Basco here at a soaking wet Emilia track. A tricky track at the best of times, but now they've got full wet conditions to deal with as well. As we have Horizon in the Haas coming out onto track, doing a few exploratory laps. You can see they've got the blue tyres on, the wet compound tyres, a tyre we haven't seen too often this season. Usually it's been intermediate conditions, but this is a full wet qualification session, which should make for some very interesting laps, especially since we, of course, as commentators, do not know what the weather will be tomorrow. Is it a dry race, in which case these drivers will probably compromise their quality setups, or do you go for track position and compromise your race setup? We really don't know what's going to happen here, and hopefully, Christian, if you're able to, if you can keep an eye on the YouTube chat, we usually get some information from the viewers at the same time.
Yep.
And obviously feel free to interject if there's a bit quiet. He's a new boy here. Oh, and speaking of new, that looked like a rookie mistake from Horizon, going across the chicane on his outlap. Of course, he will be fine to keep on going. It's just the outlap, it does not cause any bother. But he is coming through the final corner to start his first flying lap. And will... oh, no, he will not be. He will be aborting for the pit lane. So who actually is going to be on their first flying lap? It looks to be one of the McLarens. It's Basco leading the way. And we will try and ride on board with him. Here we go. As he comes along the start-finish straight, past that little right-hand kink, which technically is turn 1, but it basically isn't a turn, as he heads up towards the Variante Tamburello. Of course, reprofiled many years ago after the horrific crash of Senna and Ratzenberger back in '94. But he makes his way safely through that, albeit with a bit of understeer, getting used to these conditions, up to the Variante Villeneuve. Such a slow corner on this track, you're flying so fast through Sector 1, and then suddenly the right-hander of Villeneuve catches you out guard. Up through Tosa, the long left-hander hairpin, before trying to get the power on, squirring around under the throttle, and up the hill towards Piratella. A sharp left-hander, be careful not to go wide on exit, you will invalidate your lap and possibly spin the car out on the Astro as well. Down towards Aqua Minerale, a quick right-hander before heavy braking into the downhill. Watch the raised curves on the entrance and exit, it's so easy to bump across the curves there. Now we're up to the Variante Alta, a very tight chicane. You actually do want to ride the curves, they will actually provide a bit of stability to the car. If you try to avoid them, you're going to go incredibly slowly, and if you take too much of them, you'll go airborne. We head down towards the final complex, Gravatta, another downhill braking zone. You have to brake a bit earlier for downhill, it's very deceptive. You'll go into the gravel if you disrespect this corner. Get the power on as soon as you dare for the exit of Gravatta. Head down towards the start finish straight, get two wheels onto the green stuff there, And Basco with the first time on the board at 1:28.2, which is immediately beaten by his teammate Smelto. Now, we should remind you, of course, that although they're teammates, Smelto will not be doing Basco any favours because Smelto could win the title here. As we see the cars, we're getting quite a bit of traffic building up. Imola's a surprisingly tight track. It's very easy to come across traffic around this circuit. As we're just trying to see more times coming on board. Vert is on provisional pole at the minute, 27.8. 2/10 quicker than the current time. Snacks the Lowell does look like he's compromised himself. He's only been able to manage a 28.6. A 29.2 for John Wick, and Futuristic, who was talking crap earlier, was a 131.8. So, put that in your exhaust pipe and smoke it. But looking on track, who else have we got? Piggy coming through sector 3. Joel is just starting his lap. It's very hard to keep track of who's on the hot lap and who's not. The game doesn't really do us many favours of that. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
We've got Keyboard Magnussen on intermediates on hot lap.
That
it's going to be interesting to compare with.
That's a very interesting spot. Well spotted. I thought you were maybe mixing it up with like just the colour of his car, but if you've been with us this season, if there's ever a driver to do something unorthodox, it's Keyboard Magnussen, and he's keeping it on the island. Let's put it that way.
He's focused off the fastest time right now, so it's going to be interesting to see if he made a mistake.
He's done the purple second sector, which I know can be glitchy, but this is looking promising. Of course, he is on keyboard, and it does give you some extra stability aids when it recognizes you're on keyboard, and maybe Magnussen just taking advantage of those. That was very smooth through there. And powering down to the line now, 27.8 to be. It's not going to be a 27.8. 29.3 on intermediates, that's not bad.
Oh, it looks pretty wet, so that's surprising.
Yeah, and actually Futuristic was also on the intermediates for his lap time, so I take back what I said. So the intermediates, a couple of others braving it. Finsick and Lefter is Elite are also on the intermediates. Don't know if the weather is scheduled to improve or whether they're just trying and testing the waters. But the Inters at least seem somewhat comparable, if not outright competitive. Oh. And as I say that, Insick with a 27.1, so it is apparently intermediate weather. Because that's 7/10 quicker than the wet runners.
If Futuristic is on a time on intermediate, 2/10 down so far.
He's improving 2/10 off a pole. Or is that 2/10 off his personal best?
Yeah, 2/10 off pole, yeah.
Now, Basco has improved to a 126.9 on the wets. So, we seem to be in a bit of a crossover here as Futuristic unfortunately cuts the chicane and ruins his lap. We're in a bit of a crossover point here. The Inters and the wets seem to be comparable, at least in certain portions of the track. I imagine the Inters are paying dividends on the straights, and the wets more so in the corners. But it's an interesting battle we're seeing here between the two tyre compounds. Of course, Basco did his after 3 laps, so his tyres will have warmed up a little bit more. Of course, it doesn't take much to warm the wets up, but it does take a little bit, and it takes less than the intermediates, that's for certain. More times coming on the board. Verci on the wets, Whistlewell on the wets, Magnetic, who, dear love him, has endured a horrific season for the Mercedes team. The only team really that's still in the single digits in terms of points. 8 points total accrued for Mercedes this season. And Magnetic has borne the brunt of what has to be described as really bad luck from that Silver Arrows. Looking to turn his fortunes around here in the tail end of the season. He's currently in P12. Keyboard Magnussen, after that initial impression, has dropped down to P11. Finsick still holding on to second place. He's making his way back round. Smelto's in the pits, Basco in the pits. We're trying to find who's on the lap here. Piggy shot up to P4 there. Snacksall has invalidated as he's on his way round. John Wick is invalid.
Finsick on the intermediates is 1.5 tenths quicker. Intermediates.
Interesting. I'll tell you what else is interesting. You were mentioning about Alpine earlier. The prodigal son has returned. We have Giannis who was up in Tier 1, is back in the Alpine for today.
He is really pushing Finzig.
Yeah.
Jesus. But it looks like from the lap times, Basco is 2/10 faster in the middle sector. Oh, but he's 8/10 up Finzig. So
That's certainly looking a lot quicker. I think it is time to... I think we'll see more switching to inters now. Basco has gone to the inters. I repeat, Basco's gone to the inters. I think it is the switchover point now.
yeah.
So well spotted there, my friend. But as I was saying there, Giannis, who I believe it's the same driver from earlier in the season, obviously seeing, look, McLaren are going to beat us in the constructors here. I want to get my French boys on the top step. Only 2 points in it between the two top constructors. Only 2 of them can win it. That's Alpine and Mercedes. Or sorry, McLaren. I apologise. Looking on the track, Finzig now on pole with the 25.8. So that's a second quicker than Basco on his wets. It's definitely intermediate conditions.
Yeah, it's really dried up over the last 2 minutes.
We'll keep an eye on Basco as he comes around, just watching the sector times coming up and watching the other lap times coming up here. We have a Mercedes, looks like a spun out of the top of the hill. I believe that was magnetic.
John Wick is still on the wits, but he looks to be going okay so far.
He is, well, he's 4/10 up, but that's just overall the track improving,
Yeah.
I believe. 4/10 up would take him to the 1:27.1, which is still more than a second off of pole time. He improves by 8/10 actually.
Yeah.
But as you can see, still
Oh.
8/10 off of his teammate.
Merch on the wets is 3/10 off. Oh.
Yeah, they're going to start dropping down the order, I feel, though. Basco is out of lap there. One thing we haven't mentioned, of course, is Basco and Smelto, the 2 championship contenders, 4th and 5th. The other championship contender, Larson, still in the box, having not set time. He tends to do this. He goes for 1 lap at the end of quali, and it's worked sometimes, but other times it comes back to bite him. So of course he's got a lot of battling to do. He is in contention for the championship, albeit mostly mathematically. A lot of us thinking it's a bit of a foregone conclusion that Basco will win, but it's not over by any stretch. In fact, it's just beginning for Basco, who is on his next flying lap on the intermediates. We'll watch the sector times as McLaren comes around, and he's invalidated immediately.
Oh.
You see the map is red, he's invalidated. John Wick is on a cooldown, virtually on a cooldown. Who else is on a lap? We've got Eagle Ghost, who's still on the wets. Snacks
But
Waffle.
luckily, Basco has put 5 laps of fuel in, so we can just take a slow lap and
Indeed he can.
start over again.
Well, we've got Eversnaxolotl, who has had a big resurgence in the second half of the season. He is a Grand Prix winner, of course, now, thanks to, I believe it was Japan, and albeit the defensive driving of Keyboard Magnussen, which some would question, but personally I will not. And after a rather steady start for Snaxolotl, he's come alive in the end of the season. And it's great to watch this driver as he learns the trade and hopefully prepares for a championship run next season. It'd be great to see him up there battling for the title. But he comes through Aqua Minerale, which is full of minerale water today, all running down the hill there. And he's 4/10 up on the previous best, which, granted that's only through Sector 2, I think Sector 3 will give him a lot more time, but he's still I don't know what Finsick put in his fuel tank. He's the only driver in the 125s at the minute. But we'll see what Eversnaxolol can do. Smelto's also on a lap now. So we'll switch to him. What happened?
Basco has just massively impeded, it looked like, into turn. He started the lap, and there was a Williams right in his way.
Oh, wait, so the Williams was impeding him, or he was impeding the Williams?
Yeah, the Williams was impeding him.
Well, that would be either Tilda or Whisawil in the Williams. Smelto goes on to provisional pole. Snaxolol made it to P4. So Basco has, yep, and he's 3 seconds down. He's
Yeah,
got the
he's
fuel in, as you
unloaded it.
said, but we said at the start there about traffic.
I think he should have. I think he's gonna box, take on new tires, and just drop the fuel down low and go for one quick.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. He's only been coasting round. In theory, the injuries barely wear at all when you're coasting round. So in theory, he should be good. As hello, Alpine with a resurgence. We're on provisional pole with Lefter. So Alpine rising to the challenge in these final 2 rounds. They were at one point nearly 100, I believe 100 points ahead of their nearest rivals. It's been reduced to 2 since the driver's promotion, but Alpine coming back fighting. 2 rounds to go. The French team want the constructors. They don't want it to go back to Brackley. I think it's Brackley, isn't it? As Lefter, he was down anyway, so he was not on a push lap. Smelto is also on a cool down lap because it's 1:05 as he's coming around here.
We've got Basco on another hot lap.
Yeah, I said he would go on another one.
Yeah, that's true.
Interesting, he's not using any ERS. You notice he hasn't switched his ERS on. If you bring up the telemetry, for some reason he has not activated ERS. So this will be interesting to watch the lap times without ERS. Everyone else has it on, even on hot lap.
And well, he's backed out again.
I'm not entirely sure what the plan is here from Basco. He needs to get a shimmy on. It's P9 at the minute.
Maybe he's just burning fuel, but I'm not sure.
I tell you how long is left. Unfortunately, we appear to have, I believe it's a Williams on low fuel mode, which is providing constant yellow flags. No, it's not a Williams, I apologize. It was Lefter, so he was running no fuel at all as he comes into the box. We also have a Ferrari running no fuel at all in the form of... Oh no, it was John Wick going on a slow run. We only have 2.5 minutes left. So these will be the final runs coming up, and it's hard to tell actually who is on a lap at the minute. We know that John Wick is. Eversnaxalol is also on a lap. He's 7/10 up. Vert is apparently 1.6 seconds up from the timer I saw there.
This could get spicy with Basco. If he doesn't perform just the teeniest bit, he's gonna start way too far down.
It's the one time he really... potentially the one time that he really needed a front row start, and instead he finds himself outside of the points. Larson also has emerged from his hidey hole, and he's on that lap. Smelto, the nearest championship rival, is P4, which is a much better position. But with the 2 Alpines at the front, it's looking good for them, the constructors. Whistlewell has been nowhere all season, and now suddenly comes out of nowhere to be P2, with 1:30 to go. Snaxol's coming around the final sector. He's 8/10 up, nearly 9/10 up. Oh, that's the first sector, sorry. He must have invalidated.
Yep, I mean, Basco is going around slow for another lap. I'd really like to know what his tire wears on, because it's bold, I must say.
What else is bold is Ocean Chief is still on the wets. He's out on the wets as Finzik moves to pole. A Ferrari on the pole, right under the rear wing of the Sauber of, I want to say that's Keyboard Magnussen. Some drivers still on the wet tires. We've got Ocean Chief, Joel, Futuristic, Verci, and Larson. Larson didn't get the memo. He's doing a lap on the wets.
It looks like, I mean, the track improvement is crazy, so whoever starts the lap last is have very nice advantage.
But surely it's intermediate conditions by now. We'll watch Larson because he is one of our championship contenders. Basco is currently P12. Is he on a lap?
Basco just started his
Basco has just started his lap, so we should see Larson come across the line first, and then it will be it won't be Basco. Then it will be Smelto, and then it will be Basco. So those are the 3 championship contenders coming round in order. Larson probably won't get pole on the wet compound tire. Seems to be performing okay, but I doubt it will be super quick. He's already up to 1 minute on his timer as he comes
almost
up to
a second up. Basco.
We'll keep an eye on the sector times. Is that Basco coming to finish his lap? Sorry.
No, he's in the middle sector.
No, he started it. Smelto has finished his lap. He was across line first, a 1:24.8. He's half a second off of Finzik, who seems to be absolutely on fire today. Lefter holds on to P3 for now. What can Larson do? He's got a lot of work to do regardless of where he starts.
Basco has to find 6 tenths in the last sector to start P1.
And Larson made the wrong tire call. It's a 1:28.4. Larson starts in last place.
Oh.
So that could be the end of the championship dream right there for Larson.
We've got Basco coming around the last corner now.
Yes, we have. We're watching him now. He's currently P15.
Really
he needs an improvement. And gets one. At
He
24
took that last
dead.
corner really safe.
Giannis, hold on, Giannis is, as Snacks will all improve there, I believe. Giannis is 8/10 up. Could we see a surprise here? The Alpine to the line goes to P3. And then the last car across the line will be Tilda, who has invalidated. So that is the order. Basco did do everything he needed to do. He needs second to guarantee the championship no matter what happens. He's currently starting first, so good for him. Smelto with a bit more work to do in P4, but Larson will be praying for a miracle at this point. Last place on the grid. He was always going to be the dark horse for the championship. I don't think he ever expected to be fighting for the championship, but that may put the nail in the coffin for his championship hopes. We'll wait and see.
Constructors Championship, though. It could get fun.
Did YouTube chat give us any word on the weather?
I haven't heard anything, unfortunately.
If you're able to check the stream, that would be good. Like our stream.
Nope.
Nope, no word? Okay.
No word about the weather, no.
That song lied to me. Everybody's talking about the weather. No one's talking about the weather. Everyone, however, is talking about Basco, who is one giant step closer to taking his title.
3/10 clear. That's a really nice lap.
And Finsick 4/10 clear of Giannis.
Yeah.
It was just, as you said, it would be the last ones to cross the line that would improve, and Basco timing that stop to perfection, basically.
Yeah, it was perfect. I mean, I was so confused by him just going around slow, but I'm just gonna shut my mouth.
Maybe just getting a feel for the track, or possibly burning fuel, as you said. No. Lots of people saying about rain in the chat there, and it is rain in the race. It's a wet Imola track. It's like 21 all over again. Just while we're going onto the grid there, I'm going to switch the light on here because it's getting dark. Thank you, winter, or autumn, really, I suppose. I miss summer. I miss my light
So,
nights.
the grid box starting from P1 it's really awkward because you have to turn while accelerating. So P2 might actually be the best place.
Indeed, and of course we have no formation lap in SLR, so you can't even angle yourself on the grid slot.
Yeah.
That you would be able to do if we did have formation laps. So it's all going to be about the getaway, and in wet conditions that's not an easy thing to do. But he's still got to, remember, he only needs second. If he loses one position off the line, it's not the end of the world. Basco, the main thing for Basco is he just cannot afford any mistakes today. Any silly mistakes could put his championship in jeopardy. He's got himself on the best position. The other two, especially Larson, are going to have to fight and have to take some risks.
Exactly.
So, we will do all the calculations at the end here. But if you want to work along at home, it's 34 points gap to Smelto, 38 to Larson, with 52 points max up for grabs. 26 of them are available here today as we are underway. And Smelto does not get a good getaway. He's already lost places. He's tumbling down the order. He's down to P6. He's got Snaxalol on his right-hand side. Seems to hold him off okay. And is now trying to get back at Lefter is elite, and does so. Recovers to P5, but that's still down one place. I see Carnage at the back. Do I? No. I see a front wing going off there. I don't know who that is. Larson has made up one position. It wasn't him losing the front wing, that's for certain. But he's up to P19 and now trying to find his way through the field as Keyboard Magnussen is bumping and barging. You can see on the strategies down there, it's intermediate conditions all the way through the race. We're getting a great battle in the midfield here from 11th down as Piggy
is practically pushing Basco around right now.
Indeed, as Eagle Ghost and Ocean Chief do battle. We have a slide there from Eversnaxlol, but he survives just about as they all make their way down to Aqua Minerale for the first time. Never has a corner been more appropriately named than today. But at the front, it's Basco leading from Finsick. But Finsick all over the back of Basco. Further down the order there, we can see it looks like Keyboard Magnussen engaging in battle with Piggy and Ocean Chief. They have an Aston Martin sandwich going on there. He survives that little escapade. And as they come across the line for the first time, up to the line. No DRS, of course, because of the conditions. It is Basco from Finsick, from Giannis, from Wick, from Smelto, from Lefter, from Whistle, from Verch, from Snaxall, from Piggy. As Basco loses out under the slipstream there to Finzik, who had a really great run there. Not too sure what rings Finzik is running, but he seems to definitely have more pace at this stage, although he's sliding about, as you could see him drifting out of that corner. Now it's a question of whether Finzik can break away and whether Basco can stay with him. As we get there's no point putting tires up, everyone's on the same tire. No stops yet. Of course, we will look at the position changes. Everyone was fairly stationary with where they were. The biggest winner, Eagle Ghost up 4. Biggest loser is tied between Tilda and Horizon, both down 3 places. Ooh! A big slide from Finzik and an even bigger running wide from Giannis. They're on the ragged edge here. Basco, on the other hand, looking far more composed at this stage, even if he's dropping back slightly. And that just makes you think that Basco knows what he's got to do, that he's prepared to just sit back, chilled, conserve his tires, conserve his fuel if he needs to, manage the pace, whereas Finzik is driving for his life. Of course, he's got nothing to lose. There's no championship glory for him or for Ferrari, so he might as well try and get a win under his belt. No penalties reported.
It looked like everybody got through turn 1 without damage. That's very good driving.
It wasn't quite. We do have someone missing an end plate because we saw it fly off. I don't know who lost it. Well, let's have a look-see, shall we? Verchi's dropped well.
Smelto and John Wick's fighting.
As soon as I look back, of course, action happens. John Wick in P4. Smelto trying to regain that lost ground. Even if Basco were to win this race, Smelto is in a position at present where he could still fight for the title in the final round. It wouldn't be easy, but he's still got enough in hand. He needs to finish, by our calculations. Let me see. Oh no, sorry, I apologize. That's if Basco does not finish. So I'm just trying to work out here.
Yeah, at the moment he would be losing the championship, Smelto.
It's 18 points for second, which would increase the gap to, hold on, 34 plus 18, 44, which would increase it to 52, and 5th place gets you 10 points, so that would be a gap of 42. So no, as it stands, Smelto's not doing enough, as Horizon is the first recipient of a, no, he's not the first recipient of a penalty. Lefter is the first recipient, both getting 3 seconds for track limits. Out in front, Finzik has checked out. He's 1.1 clear at the front. Basco holding on to second, which would guarantee him the title. So he's still doing all he's got there, but it's by no means a certainty. Not only has he got the Alpine of Giannis 0.4 behind, but of course, wet conditions around Imola, you'd have to think there'd be a safety car at some point, surely.
As we have Finzik, he's pulled that 1 second gap already.
He has. Looking down the gaps, actually one of the closer ones, we're looking for the close battles. Verch in P7 is trying to chase down Lefter, who has the 3 second penalty. We've got yellows at the back for Horizon, who is already suffering with a track limit penalty, and he's now had a sort of mini half spin. He's now nearly 10 seconds adrift, 9 seconds from Verchi. Larson's not making the progress he needs to. He's 2.6 behind his teammate, down in 17th place. The title, even the sliver of hope for the title, rapidly disappearing for the V-Carb driver. As we watch this very close battle in the midfield, pretty close all the way really from John Wick all the way down to Piggy in 10th. There is a bit more of a gap with Whistle, who is more than 1 second away from Verch, but still fairly close. As Whistle gets 3 seconds as soon as I mention his name, and commentators cursing people, I'm not going to say his name anymore. So we ride on board with Verch, who is the closest driver to his target on track. But look at that, there's very little, he has no straight line speed, this Verch. He's losing time on the straight. But you can see him gaining it in the corner. So this is where the strategy of the setup comes in.
We've got Ocean Chief and Keyboard Makers.
We do indeed. That was for 12th place. Eagle Ghost and Ocean Chief. Eagle Ghost was already 13th, so he's been trying to have a look. But as I was saying there, you've got some interesting setup choices here. Some drivers taking the risk with less wing to get more straight line speed, others running a high downforce. And of course, we don't know what way the weather's going to go. Whether it appeared to be intermediates all race according to the tyre strategy, but weather forecast is only set to approximate. We could see a drying of the track. We could see the rain intensify. We do not know at this point what is going to happen. As Ocean Chief pursues his quarry in the form of Keyboard Magnussen, who is on the fringes of the points but is nearly 3 seconds now, as Tilda becomes the latest to be added. Piggy becomes the latest to be added to the penalty points tally. So Keyboard Magnussen now technically in 10th place if you go by the countback clock, but rapidly falling out of that. And Keyboard, as much as he's shown great skill on a keyboard, he's not enjoying these wet conditions, is he? Someone else who's not enjoying them, I tell you what, is Smelto. He's 2.6 behind Giannis.
Yeah, it looks like he's really struggling.
I was going to say, was he being held up by John Wick? I mean, the gap is coming down a bit, but John Wick wasn't really holding anyone up. John Wick had good pace as well. The top three just seem to have a really good pace at the minute. Finsick with the best of it. He's 1.2 clear up, but Basco has found some more life here. He's pulled the gap out to just under a second ahead of Giannis. And Smelto now leading a little bit of a mini train, it must be said, of John Wick, Lefter, Verch, and potentially Wissawil and Eversnacks Lol. As John Wick ends up losing out on the entrance to Aqua Minerale to Lefter. That's a very unusual place to overtake. We weren't expecting that one, hence why the camera wasn't on it. But John Wick falling down one position, although Lefter does have the 3-second time penalty. And given how close the field is around him, he would lose a boatload of places were it to finish like this. Of course, we're only on lap 6 of 32. So 26 laps left to go. We are expecting a pit stop, even though... Oh! As Piggy gets a severe collision with Snaxolotl. And Snaxolotl is... Yep, he recovered from a spin there. Does Piggy have damage? He's got a 10-second penalty. He doesn't have damage. Neither car has damage somehow, but Piggy with 13 seconds of penalties to his name now. And that's really concertinaed the field up behind. All stuck behind Keyboard Magnussen, who's 5 seconds adrift. As Snaxolotl begins his fight back. His first victim will be Joel, if he can make it stick. Thinks better of it. Emilia's not the easiest track to overtake around, even in dry conditions. And Snaxolotl biding his time, being a little bit more patient. Very quickly up at the front there, you can see that Finsick is now 2.4, nearly 2.5 clear, pulling out rapidly from
really
Basco.
Confident on the braking. He's driving beautifully.
He is indeed. And there's just this, again, it's this train that we found it. The legendary Truly train. Here it's the keyboard train. I mean, look at that. 5 seconds gap to Wissawil, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cars all in this train, less than a second between them, as Horizon gets another 3-second time penalty to his miserable afternoon. Larson still stuck in 17th, as Smelto now maybe senses now is the time to strike, as he sets the fastest lap of the race. So that takes a point away from Basco's championship lead.
We've got Ocean Chief and Eagle fighting again.
We do indeed. Well, that whole pack is really fighting. It's kind of hard to keep our eye on them. As at the back, we have Tilda getting ahead of Verchi. And Snaxolotl, gosh, there's so many penalties popping up on the board here. As Piggy gets another penalty, he's now 16 seconds in the hole. We've only done 8 laps. That means he's averaging a 2-second penalty a lap. I know that's not how it works, but it might as well at this point. Well, one would describe Piggy as an overzealous driver on occasions, and I think you can see why we say that.
Yeah.
As Ocean Chief and Joel now. That was Ocean Chief trying to get past Joel. Came alongside the entrance Aqua Minerale. And Snaxolotl says, thank you very much. You're going slowly through there. I'm going to go straight up the outside. Surely not brave enough to go around the outside at the top of the hill. does the switchback. That was a beautiful move. Set
Yeah.
Joel up nicely and Snaxel up to P12. That was a lovely move that we got there. As Joel now under attack from Ocean Chief, and a bit of wheel barge in there. Joel somehow manages to keep it on the straight and narrow. Left her now with the fastest lap of the race, as I saw some debris flying off there. Was it off Ocean Chief's car? There was definitely some sort of carbon fiber flying up there. As Futuristic tries to make a move on Ocean Chief. This is for 15th place. That's what we love about these guys. They'll fight for every position like it's you know, the World Championship itself. As Giannis
You've
gets
got
another.
Snaxalati and Magneto close.
They are indeed. Snaxalol trying to get Magnetic, who's out of the points, but having one of his better races so far. He's kept his nose clean. I mean, I used to race with Magnetic a couple of seasons ago. I remember we raced together back in 21. Both of us had more successful seasons that year, and 22 when we raced again, it was a very different
Ocean
story.
Chief and Snaxalati going side by side.
Yep, and Joel gets bars out of the way by Ocean Chief. Joel really being bullied at this stage of the race, isn't he? And that's Sauber. He's now got Futuristic up behind him, and Larson there as well, who seems to have forgotten that he's fighting for a World Championship. He's just sitting there in P17. This is where... Oh! Joel gets a rear snap on. Futuristic has to take to the grass for evasive action. He will dispute that time penalty. He will dispute that because he'll say, I had to take avoiding action. Larson takes advantage and goes up to 16th. But he is well out of position as Joel is sliding everywhere. He's overheated the tires. Magnetic gets 3 seconds. Larson now up to 15th. But it's nowhere near enough.
Futuristic has dropped down to P19. He must have made a mistake.
Indeed. Well, that's what I was saying. He went off the track there. He had to take avoiding action to avoid Joel's tank slapper at the entrance to the chicane. And we're watching Larson here, who's not doing anywhere near enough. Meanwhile, 6th and 7th. Oh! John Wick gets a slide on and actually stops spinning by catching the Red Bull of Verch. Then tried to accelerate offline, which didn't work well, and Whistlewill just said, oh, cha, very much, mate, as he moves up to P7, albeit with a 6-second penalty. So, looking at the position now, Smelto is a net P3. But again, that wouldn't be enough. Again, by my calculations, if Basco finishes second, that is it. It's game over. We will confirm at the end of the race with the final positions, but Basco is doing everything he needs to, and Smelto doesn't seem to have much of a response. He's closed the gap to Basco and Giannis, but he actually needs to get past them as well. Further down the order, Keyboard Magnussen still holding on this train in P9. What's going on the back there? Futuristic and Verchi, the two sister teams doing battle. So rather than fighting for points, they're fighting for second to last.
He might be going for a move here.
Which one, sorry, who are we on?
In P10, Eagle Ghost.
Eagle Ghost, this could be for points here. Yeah, it's Keyboard Magnussen who's all over the track there. He seems to be starting to struggle. Piggy is also on the fight back. He's got nothing to lose with that 16-second time penalty. Futuristic seems to have lost out on that battle with Verchi, has he?
Oh! As Eagle Ghost and Keyboard Magnussen touched.
There was some contact there, wasn't there?
It's just
And oh, looking at the inside, there was definitely contact there. We just saw it on camera. Keyboard Magnussen bars wide. I think Eagle Ghost will take a penalty for that after the race. That was a move that was never on. Yeah, that was a move that was never on. And
I think Magnussen just locked his race.
you think, well, but it was Eagle that understeered into Keyboard Magnussen. Magnussen was on the outside. As Piggy gets another penalty. At this rate, he might as well take a black flag. As Finzik now gets the fastest lap of the race at 24.5. So the track appears to be drying out a little bit. As you wear down the inters, of course, they basically become modified slicks. But there definitely appears to be a dry line forming here. And the rain is more of a sprinkling than a bucketing down. Certainly the raindrops are not as big, even if they are coming down consistently. So I don't know if we are maybe looking at a move to dries before the end of the race. As up at the front, Smelto is on the verge of closing into that 1 second gap to Giannis, who themselves is nearly half a second behind Vasco, as Keyboard Magnussen on the outside. Piggy doesn't fight that. And Keyboard Magnussen reclaims one of his positions. He'll want Eagle Ghost back though. He'll want to take revenge. As they all make their way through. Whoa! Oh, we've got Mercedes getting swirly. That's Magnetic getting the rears lit up, and poor old Magnetic just cannot catch a break as Larson very quietly makes his way to P14. Just another 10 places, Larson, and then you'll actually be in with a chance of the title. Poor old Magnetic can't get the power down as Eagle Ghost gets another time penalty. That'll be karma from Keyboard Magnussen's perspective anyway. Looking around, we've got Smelto. He is within 1 second now, and he is starting to close.
We've
on
got Lefter pitting.
Lefter's elite, the first to box.
Going for new intermediates, maybe?
What does he go on to? Let's have a look. It is a new set of inters. Only real option available to him at this point.
Yeah.
So we'll see how powerful the undercut or overcut is.
Larson pitting as well.
Larson also pitting. As is... oh no, sorry, that's still Lefter. So that'll put Larson right down the back. As he also goes on to new intermediates.
That's going to be interesting for later in the race.
Tell you what, a safety car at this moment would be a right bugger for Larson, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So Ryzen makes his way past Larson down to P19. Not having the afternoon he wants. While up at the front, Basco is still doing everything he needs to do. He knows he's not a match for Finzik in these conditions. Finzik has just checked out. It's 3.9 the gap. He knows that Giannis has a penalty, but he also knows his teammate and rival Smelto is right behind him as Joel gets a 3-second time penalty. And Giannis gets 10 seconds because he didn't stop for the pit lane in time. So that's going to ruin his afternoon. It will be some welcome news to Smelto, who won't have to worry for a while now. And we're seeing more and more people coming in, hence why we've got the pit stops up there. All changing to intermediates. You just have to wonder now, when are the leaders going to come in? Is it undercut territory? Is it overcut territory? What's going to work here?
It looks like Finzik might have made a mistake. Lost 6/10 this lap.
Looks that way, doesn't it? Or maybe just starting to control the pace. The gap's back up to 3.5 now, so possibly an error. He's actually a bit all over the track coming out of the exit of Aqua Minerale. Wonder if the tires are starting to go with that early pushing that he did. I'll tell you what as well, that's released Smelto, who is now chasing down his teammate. 1.4 the gap. And of course, as much as they've worked together to bring McLaren great glory in the constructors, it's papaya rules for McLaren on this race, I'm certain.
And we've got Piggy almost pushing Keyboard Magnussen around. He just... oh, he's going for a move, it looks like.
Yeah, these two have a habit of pushing each other around, it must be said. As Keyboard Magnussen holds the line, we've got yellows at the pit lane, that's Tilda. I think he spun out on the entrance to pit lane, which is interesting. Piggy going well wide again. Keyboard Magnussen bails for the pits. Perhaps wisely so, thinking, look, I'm not going to keep an angry pig behind me. Ocean Chief is going to be kept behind Giannis though. Oh, barging wheel to wheel there.
Lifter getting the fastest lap of the race. 5/10 faster than Finzik.
That's the power of fresh intermediates.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what Ocean Chief and Giannis have in terms of beef with each other, but
oh, we have a Mercedes around.
that's Eagle. No, hold on. Is it? Yep, it's Eagle Ghost. And Keyboard Magnussen will be laughing at that one. As Eagle Ghost drops down, has yet to pit, of course.
Yeah, the tires seem to really be going off right now. Everybody's just sliding around.
So looking at the gap, whoa, speaking of sliding around, the Haas there, of Egbert Saxel just keeping on track. Looking at the gap to the leader, so Giannis is the leader of the pit stoppers. Gap is currently 29 seconds, 29 seconds. Near 30, and it's starting to come down slowly.
It is one of the longest pit lanes of the season.
It is indeed. As Lefter gets 3-second time penalty. So will any of the front runners come into the pits? Lefter tries to make his way around. He's got to try and find his way past Eversnack to Lobble. Of course, the later you can take the intermediates, assuming it's going to stay wet the whole race, as Snacksall does come into the pits, the better your tires will be at the end of the race.
Very
Which
true.
could prove crucial if the weather starts to dry out.
Yeah.
I mean, it can change at the last minute. We had our race in AOR last week at Singapore, and the rain came down with 4 laps to go. And it didn't seem so hard. With 1 lap to go, it was suddenly time for intermediate tires. And we had drivers all over the place. So weather can play a huge part. Lots of position changing as the pit stops go around. Larson making the undercut work for himself there. He's made up another position. He's ahead of the 2 Haasies. He's now P14 and chasing down Keyboard Magnussen for 13th. But the gap after that is nearly 13 seconds.
Yeah, and Gian is up to P5 on his new intermediates already.
Indeed he is. The fresh inter is really doing work. As
And we've
Larson
got
apparently
Finzik
sets
and
up Larson apparently setting a purple sector 1. Jans gets another 3-second time penalty.
The top
As we
2
have
is pitting now.
Finzik and Basco both in the pit lane. Finzik is already pitted. Basco gets his stop done. He should come out ahead of John Wick, as John Wick is sliding all over the track. He'll go on for another lap, obviously not wanting to double stack, so Smelto now has the advantage. He would be loving a safety car right about now with Smelto.
Yes.
If a safety car came out and forced the delta on his teammate, Basco is dropping well down because of that long pit lane. He's down to 7th. Will he make it out ahead of Birch? No, he won't. That's another car to overtake.
Ooh.
And John Wick struggling a bit. He has now been overtaken by Finzik. So Finzik effectively net leader of the race. So Finzik did enough. He's come out effectively still in the lead of the race. Giannis and Lefter are now both ahead of Basco, as is Virtuous also pitted. So Basco has 3 drivers that will not be stopping again, presumably, and he'll have to overtake them. This suddenly got a little bit more interesting for the title fight, at least from Smelto's point of view.
Yeah, we've got 6 cars covering 4 seconds.
So Giannis, what is going on here? John Wick is tumbling down the order, and speaking of tumbling, we have Giannis tumbling off the track, and 3-second penalty for corner cutting. He'll probably dispute that one, but as he loses all of those positions, he's 19 seconds on time penalties, because he had 10 seconds going through the pit lane, and that'll be 3 track limit warnings. Oh!
Oh!
Giannis hits Basco! Giannis and Basco make contact! I saw a front wing fly off. I think it's from Giannis. And indeed it is. Basco survives that. Well, we assume so. We don't think he would have underfloor damage. I think Giannis is retiring, and indeed they do. So there'll be no safety car. They've retired in the pit lane. That's 1 less point score for Alpine.
And Smelto has come out in front of his teammate.
That is huge, and look at them immediately battling. Basco was held up there by that little hit. Had he not been hit by the Alpine, he probably would have come out ahead. So the ball's in Smelto's court now.
That was crucial.
It was indeed, and it's also crucial now that they get past John Wick, who has not pitted yet. You can see
John
on
Wick's
there.
just...
No pit stop for John Wick.
John
Who's
Wick is really fighting this
He is.
for his teammate.
Yeah, more so for his teammate. They're fighting a rear guard action here. Looks to the inside. Will both McLarens get through in one go? No, they will not. Smelto makes it through. Basco does not. He'll make it through on the exit. But he's lost a bit of time. John Wick surely has to stop now. It's been 18 laps. He's over half race distance. Considering it actually, we've just hit half race distance here, or just beyond, I do wonder if some drivers are maybe going to go for a 2-stopper. assuming that the intermediates have the same wear and tear. Finzik now pulling away. As it stands, Smelto... Yep, as it stands, Smelto would still be in the championship fight. Basco... At least I believe he would still be. Basco trying to find his way through. He wants this title fight done and dusted. Of course, there's also the small matter of the constructors to work out. And we will have to work it all out at the end, because unfortunately we don't have an analyst crew working on the graphics of who can win the title at every second of the race. But things have gone a little bit wrong for Basco. Not the end of the world, but he's now battling the one driver he really didn't want to. Because Basco will be encouraged to be cautious, Smelto will throw caution to the wind. Piggy with another time penalty. That brings his total expenses for the evening to... Well, he served at 10 seconds in the pit stop, so that would be 25 seconds total he's accrued, of which he served 10.
What point do you get disqualified?
When the steward's whiskey bottle ends, I imagine. But anyway, back to the inter-team battle here. Basco surely has the run now, although he's burned all his ERS, and Smelto, oh, still trying to use overtake. He's on the inside. Is Smelto going to let this one slide? He thinks better of it this time and lets Basco through, but he has more ERS than his teammate, and trying to make the comeback, has a little snifter, trying to force Basco into a mistake. Basco's above those sorts of mistakes, it seems. So Basco resumes his position ahead of the McLarens. And of course, bearing in mind Lefter has time penalties, this is effectively third and fourth for Basco and Smelto. And Basco has immediately pulled a second to clear, although Smelto is trying to close it back up again, saving his ERS for that long straight.
Basco is just pulling away immediately from Smelto.
Well, he's trying to anyway. It's hovering around 1 second. Smelto finding some time on certain parts of the track, losing time in others. The gap is slowly increasing. Basco using overtake early on there, so too Smelto responding, but Smelto was basically double the ERS supply that Basco has. Is he able to use it this time? Both of them staying on medium.
We've got Larsen in P10 close to Keyboard Magnussen as well.
I was going to say, yeah, Larsen finding his way onto the scrapings of the points and now chasing Keyboard Magnussen for 9th. But then there's quite a big bunch of gaps in between on the intervals. It's been a decent fight back from Larsen, but he really shouldn't have been down in P20 to begin with. His own fault for only doing 1 lap.
Yeah.
Smelto has closed back within a second of his teammate as they come up towards Acqua Minerale, or down towards Acqua Minerale I should say. Now a bit closer than they were last time. Smelto starting to warm up to his tires, figuratively and literally I think, although losing a lot of time through Acqua Minerale. They're lost by 3/10. I get the feeling Basco's gone for a more downforce heavy setup. So Smelto really just needs Basco to make a mistake in Sector 3, and then Smelto could maybe get a run out of the final corner, but I don't think it'll happen this time. 1.1 the gap, although it's down to a second now. Will he have a chance this time? No, he's burnt his ERS as well. They're both on the same. Basco, I think, is secure in P4 at the minute. Back with our other championship potential. Larsen now under pressure from Eel Ghost. Of course, the other thing we've got to look at is the time penalties. Larsen, there is a big gap, but it's 9 seconds for Whistle Wheel, 6 for Tilda, and 3 for Futuristic. Potentially more depending on how the race goes. As Eagle Ghost dives to the inside and does take the place away from Larsen, so Larsen back outside the points. not having a fun time this race, is it?
Really struggling.
Really
Really
struggling.
struggling, yeah.
Oh,
But we have
John Wick.
Tilde as well, and Futuristic hasn't pitted it in P7.
Yeah, John Wick
8.
has, sorry.
Oh, we got Eagle Ghost overtaking.
Yeah, Eagle goes really on the move. John Wick did eventually pit, by the way, 2 laps ago there. Unfortunately, he's left him down in 15th. The long run not doing him any favours in terms of his actual race. Although he's probably thinking, look, I can get my teammate a win here. And,
He did a great job defending from Ascon Smelter.
he did indeed, and it's a 5-second gap between Finsick and Laughter with a time penalty as well. Look at this concertina in the midfield here. Larson trying to find his way through them all. Of course, under pressure from Eversnaxolotl, as that is Keyboard Magnuson going to the inside. Just avoids contact with Eagle Ghost. These two, of course, have a bit of a history in this race. Eagle Ghost hitting Keyboard Magnuson off. And the green Sauber, screw whatever anyone else says, I call it a Sauber, dives to the outside. Oh, a little bit of a bump as Eagle Ghost tries to squeeze. Oh, trying to get 2 into 1, nearly hit the Futuristic. Eagle Ghost. Oh, Eagle Ghost went around the outside and I think hit Futuristic off in the process.
Almost.
And Larson, no! Futuristic, I think, hit his teammate by accident. Larson hit the wall. He's got damage on the left end plate and he's down to 14th. That's surely the championship dream over for Larson. So that was Eagle Ghost in a second controversial incident. I get
That's
a
a
feeling.
shame for him.
I get a feeling Keyboard Magnuson will be less than impressed with the Eagle. He'll want to pluck his feathers when this race is done. And speaking of it being done, we have just hit 2/3, I believe. Actually, we're over 2/3 of the way through the race, I believe. Yes, we're just over 2/3 race distance. So we're into the final stretch. Looking at the tyre ages, we've got Futuristic still hasn't pitted yet, by the way. He's been on those tyres since he pitted on lap 2 to repair damage.
Yeah, the same with Tilde. He's on 23 laps old. Intermediates as well.
As John Wick, rather out of position, you feel, compared to where he should be, as Keyboard Magnus is now facing the wrong way.
Oh.
And I can only assume that was a move on Eagle Ghost that caused that. As now John Wick comes across Keyboard Magnuson. And Larson in the pits to repair damage. He will keep going. It is his nature. He never gives up. But he's about to be lapped by his championship rivals. The Ferrari of Finsick coming down the main straight, and there you can see, I mean, this is a sight you didn't want to see. We wanted a 3-way fight for the title, but much like, it reminds me an awful lot of Indianapolis 2003, where we had a wet race. Montoya, Raikkonen and Schumacher all fighting for the championship. Montoya had an awful race and ended up being lapped by Schumacher, which ruined his championship chances. You rather get the feeling the same thing's about to happen to Larson. Like I said, he really needed P4 or higher to be in with any realistic chance of the championship. As it stands, 4th place is about, what, 8 or 9 seconds away? Unfortunately, it's 8 or 9 seconds behind him and about to lap him. So, disappointment for Larson. Speaking of disappointment, Piggy losing out to Joel after his rather miserable race. But some exciting racing going on here between John Wick and Keyboard Magnuson. Keyboard Magnuson making the move. John Wick trying to come back around the outside. Not able to do it on this occasion. We'll go on board with the Ferrari driver. John Wick's tyres 5 laps younger than Keyboard Magnuson's. Futuristic, meanwhile, is on 24 lap old inters, as is Tilda. props to Tilda, still in P7. As up at the front, we've also got movement. Basco overtaking Verch. And that is crucial because with the time penalty, that would mean Basco would finish second, which would guarantee him the championship by our count.
And with John Wick going for a move on Keyboard Magnussen.
As Piggy gets another 3-second time penalty. That's an unusual move to try and overtake there.
Yeah.
Coming down the hill on the outside. Keyboard Magnussen and John Wick having great fun here.
Should be a pretty easy move on the straight. Nope.
No,
Forget
Keyboard Magnussen seems to have less downforce. As Tilda is dropping back, he drops behind Eagle Ghost, but considering his tyres are... I'll tell you what, Tilda is driving a right rust bucket. He's got 25 lap old tyres and he's missing his right end plate. Yeah, I assume he's going for an Alex Albon where he'll pit on like the last lap or something.
How is that even a possibility?
I have no idea, as we have a safety car.
Around the outside.
Now, why has that happened? It's Piggy. Piggy's in the wall minus a nose cone. Now, what's going to happen here? The leaders have all gone past the pits.
Finzik pitting.
No, they
Finzik
haven't.
is
Sorry,
pitting.
that is Finzik. I thought that was John Wick. Finzik pitting. And they're all concentrating up. Lefter goes on. Both. Oh.
Basco pitting as well.
Smelto's going to kick himself here. He's going to have to double stack.
Oh.
And if people behind him do not pit, then that's going to leave him down the order. Whistlewill is coming in. I think he'll be alright. I think he should stay P5. As the mechanics get to work on him. No favoritism from the McLaren team, obviously.
That's unfortunate for Larsen as well. He had to pit 2 laps ago.
Oh, what a shame.
Yeah.
But what this will mean, of course, though, is that Larsen will not be... yeah, Larsen didn't get lapped. Larsen will be able to rejoin the back of the train as Ocean Chief gets 10 seconds for speeding in the pit lane. But I tell you what, that's good news for Larsen. Because never underestimate Emilia. There could be chaos. Maybe he keeps his nose clean. Maybe he gets into the points. You never know. He's been given...
everybody getting backed up again.
He's been given a chance. A slim chance. But a chance nonetheless. As John Wick has gone to the hard compound tyre, Piggy retires from the session. He's had enough for the day. That's an interesting call from John Wick.
Going for what?
Hard compound tyres. Yeah, I don't know either. Considering they'll take the longest to heat up as well.
Yeah. I mean, if
I'm guessing
anything,
he's just here to have fun.
Yeah. That's...
So, let's have a look at the stops then. So who is stopped? So the top 2 have not stopped.
Everybody
But they'll only have...
except
I tell you what though, they'll only have a few more laps to go after this one.
Oh,
Joel's made up a good few places as he gets another 3-second penalty somehow under safety car.
Keyboard Magnussen goes off the track. Under the safety.
No tire temperature. John Wick appears to have lost his mind. Apparently, the dog getting killed broke him. Larsen's made up a few places on those pit stops and will rejoin the train on decently fresh inters, but we're already on lap 28. There's only 5 to go, including this one. Surely not enough time to get anything done. Interesting looking at the team radios, or as I call, that's what I call our Discord chat. Gian is saying, the Ferrari of John Wick is letting Basco through, and when I am side by side with him, he turns into me. Fair play. Sarcastic clapping emoji. So John Wick potentially in a bit of trouble there. Piggy's also on the radio.
John Wick is pitting again, probably for this time.
Maybe expecting the track would dry out or something? Nope, another new set of hards, I think.
No, it's softs. Yeah.
Oh no, it's softs, okay. At least he's not completely insane. I wonder, do you know what I think he might be doing? I think he's trying to drag the safety car out.
Oh.
Because of course the safety car will come in eventually, but it waits
that's
until the
only gonna
entire
hurt his
field
teammate.
catches up. So if John Wick is waiting there, you know, he's
But
got to get around half the track now, so the safety car will stay out for another lap.
That's only gonna hurt his teammates. isn't it? He's gonna have less laps to overtake the top two.
Sorry, Piggy was typing there. He's apologising to Eversnack, saying, "I am terribly sorry when crashing you out on the last corner. My pedals weren't stuck on as usual and slipped off." So an unfortunate accident there for Piggy and for Eversnack's a lollo. So Lefter has nothing to lose. He's gone a time penalty, but Verge suddenly in a box seat. It depends how well those older inters last. Remember, because they're scrubbed, they'll heat up quicker. He will have some initial pace. But what will the pace difference be between 15-lap-old tyres and 2-lap-old tyres? Will it be enough for Fintech to overhaul Verge?
If he can defend like John Wick did, it could get interesting. Hopefully.
We're still waiting on John Wick, actually. He's only coming through Sector 3 now. We're waiting on quite a few of them, as it turns out. Magnetic is a long ways off. Even Keyboard Magnussen is only catching up to this train now.
Yeah.
So, will we get one more lap under safety car?
The safety car could come in before John Wick catches up.
Well, go on board with Laughter and watch for those lights. When the lights go out in the safety car, it means it's going to pull into the pit lane. It looks really strange with that rear wing from that angle, doesn't it? It looks fine from the front, but then you look on the rear, it's like... Oh, as Joel gets 10 seconds for colliding with Whistle.
Oh, John Wick spins out.
He's on soft, I'm not surprised. Snacks the level. Had to let Joel back through. John Wick. I don't think he will catch the train at this rate.
No.
Surely safety car will come in this lap. I think it stays out for a max. Indeed it does.
Yeah.
It's not waiting for John Wick anymore. It's seen he's taking a piss. So after this, when they go race again, they'll have 3 full laps of racing. Laughter with a time penalty, nothing to lose. Verch on the older tyres, but with track position. Finsick, Basco and Smelto all behind them. Because of all this, Basco is now no longer in a position where he can win the title guaranteed. I'm pretty sure if it finishes as is, I'm pretty sure Smelto will be able to take it to the final round. We'll do the calculations after. As they begin again. Whoa, Finsick going well wide. And getting an overtake? Surely that's an illegal overtake.
That must be, yeah, he's letting him
and he's letting back through. Trying to get back past Verch. Burning everything to do so. Verch does lose out. That was answered that question pretty quickly. So, Finsick into the net lead of the race. From Verch, from Basco, from Smelter, Whistle, Eagle Ghost as Keyboard Magnussen gets a 3-second time penalty. Joel, Snackswall and Tilda completing the top 10. Behind them it's Keyboard, Futuristic, Larson in 13th place, Magnetic, Verchi, Horizon, Ocean Chief and John Wick. Piggy and Giannis, the only 2 DNFers of the minute. Verch is dropping down the order, those tyres dying immediately. As we have, that was Tilda losing the rear there. So Basco, the time penalty is 6 seconds. So as it stands, Basco will finish second. And should secure the title if it finishes like this. As Basco gets 3 seconds. That's huge. That is huge for Basco.
That is massive.
Smelto now smells blood and needs to get a move on, but Verch is not making it easy for him. Verch trying to squeeze the McLaren off the road. Smelto having none of it. Will have to go around the outside going down the hill. Verch being the cork in the bottle here. And still fighting with the McLaren. But the McLaren Smelto making it through. Now, he's lost a little bit of time. He's 1.2 behind Basco. As Basco tries to get into the lead here and pull out a 3-second gap. Surely an impossibility in all the time that's left. We're seeing action up and down the field here. Whistle and Eagle Ghost, who's been having more than his fair share of incidents, battling. Finsick gets 3 seconds. Smelto could win. Smelto could win the race.
That's
disaster
Jesus.
For the 2 leaders at the end of the race here, ladies and gentlemen. Smelto could be taking points out of his teammate. And will do at this rate. We're going to change the gap from interval to gap to leader. Smelto 2.4 behind Finsick.
Smelto has to get past left to this.
He will get past left, I think. Well, I know he's going to have to go right. Oh, down the inside. He does get through. John Wick has retired in the pit lane, having caused a bit of a disaster. Lefter is dropping down the order. Did Lefter spin? Lefter spun out. And who else is that? That's Eagle Ghost. There must have been a bit more. He must have got too much power down. Smelto is 3.1 away from the lead. Smelto would finish second at this rate. He's got 1 lap to close up by about 2/10, but the gap is increasing. Smelto is also running low on ERS. He has to go for it. He'll finish ahead of Basco, but he needs to try and get the win here. He needs every point he can get. Speaking of every point he can get, fastest lap of the minute is going to Finsick, as Lefter gets another time penalty. 3.3 the gap now. Basco will try and get ahead because this will be for the win. Could we see one last desperate move from Basco? We'll go for the interval gap as well. Remember, if Basco gets 3 seconds ahead, he would secure second. The gap is 2.7, 2.6.
Smelto 3.1 behind Finsick.
3.1 behind the leader, but more importantly 2.6 behind his teammate. 2.5, the gap is closing. Smelto senses what he needs to do. 2.7, it's fluctuating. 2.6.
Oh, he's within 3 seconds of Finsick now.
He is he?
Oh. Oh,
Gap
it's so
leader.
close.
Everson's gets 3 seconds. 2.9, 2.8.
Yeah.
It's all going to come down to this final sector, and if Basco makes a move, he could slow both of them down. 2.7.
This is massive.
This came all out in the last lap, didn't it? 2.8 as they come through the final corner. Smelto needs a clean run through. 2.9. It's so close. 3. It's over 3 seconds. 2.9 now. Finsick will win it. Basco will come second. Does Smelto have enough in it there? He gets second by 0.022. Finsick holds on to the win.
Thousandths of a second.
Now, hold on, folks, hold on. We're going to have to do our maths here. So bear with us.
Out again.
We will calculate for you. We will calculate for you. Just bear with me. So, as
who got fastest lap?
we'll see on there as well. I believe it was Finsick got fastest lap, so that point is effectively null and void. Larson got driver of the day, but that will be of little consolation to him because Larson is out of the championship. He can no longer win the driver's title. It's all over for Larson. Now let's find out once we watch the podium celebrations and see. Of course, these would only be provisional. We'd have to go for penalties and any incident reports. Let's just double check. Finsick did secure fastest lap. So, by my calculations, let me see. So, I've got my pen and paper right here. So, we'll have 26 points available with 1 round to go. Basco will take 15 points. Smelto will take 18. So, let's just try and work this out here. Bear with me, I'm going to bring up our points table. If you'll bear with me, because we did the points beforehand. If I go to the race studio here, let me just exit the stream. Or exit the game, rather. So, I've just drawn in my hands. So, let me see. Basco got 15 onto his 129, so that's 144, yes. Smelto gets 18, so that's 105 plus 8 is 113.
Oh.
113, so let's hold on. 4 take 1 is, let me see. 1, 3. It's over. It's over. Gap of 144 to 113, the gap is 31 points. There's only 26 left. Basco has done it. Basco is confirmed the Tier 2 champion. Until, well, he's confirmed Tier 2 champion by the maths. There may be penalties. We will double check that later in the week. But for now, Basco, I believe, is your world champion for Tier 2. And Verch saying in there that he wins the... Yep. Basco wins the championship. Hang on. Let me just get in here.
We need the world champion.
Just putting in the chat there. Just putting there. By our count, Basco 144 points, Smelter 113, a 31 point gap with 26 points available. Basco is champion. Now that's only by our count, and obviously if there's penalties or anything, but I don't think the front runners were really involved in any major incidents. I'm just trying to work out the maths here. If Basco had won that race, he would have got 7 more points. 31 take away 7 is... Hang on, my mind's gone blank. It would have been 24 points the gap.
Oh.
If Smelto had won, it would have gone to the final round.
And he lost by 22 thousandths of a second.
22 thousandths of a second was all that was in it at the end. So we'll wait and see who's coming into the interviews. We've actually only got 1. We've got 2 in Joel's Jewellery, and we have 3 in Danny's Rage Room.
We've got Eversnacks in interviews.
Hang on a second. Just asking if our 3 championship contenders will show up to the interviews. Doesn't look like we're going to get many interviews here. I'm going to put the fun fact in there. Fun fact, if Atsmelto had been 0.022 seconds closer, he would have won and been able to take the fight to the final round.
That must have hurt a lot.
So we have Eagle goes to the interview room and Eversnacks. Looks like that's all we're going to get in there. So we'll drag them in. Do you know what? We'll get both of them in here. We might as well get you both in here. You appear to be the only 2 in the interview room. Was hoping to talk to our champion. Well, what we believe to be our champion. Obviously, if there's any reports, that will all have to be dealt with. But let's get on to you 2 then. A chaotic race. For both of you, actually. We'll start with you, Eversnacks. I'm guessing you saw the message from Piggy?
Yeah, I saw it. I guess it happens, you know, sometimes in these cars you have just those mechanical malfunctions. It's super unfortunate for me, but you know, it's on par for the season for me. I'm just gonna look towards the next season. Well, I mean, there's still a race left, so I could be taking some points there, but yeah, I'm not that annoyed about it. Had some fights in the midfield, you know. It wasn't a boring race. Let's put it that way.
Indeed. Well, and of course that's also quite a nice thing. I know we always like to have the title fight down to the wire, but I kind of like it when we finish the title on the round before, because then everyone just goes in the final race with like, I've got nothing to lose. There's nothing to gain. Let's all have a bit of fun. Although I believe the constructors is still up for grabs. We'll have to calculate that in a second as well. But a disappointment for you, I guess. But I suppose it happens at the end of the day. Fair is fair. Anything to add there, Eversnacks?
Yeah, I mean, just for the last few rounds, I've just been driving for myself. Didn't have as much time to practice actually, so I'm just taking the positions that I can get. And I mean, I got some good points the last 2 races. I'm not gonna complain that much about this race. It happens sometimes. You can't always have the best race.
Fair enough. Eagle Ghost.
Hello there.
I'm not gonna lie, you may have a few angry drivers at your door and potentially a visit to the steward's office. A couple of incidents that we saw there. for starters, you and Keyboard Magnuson will be trying to throttle you, I imagine. There were a couple of bumps and barges between you two. Care to tell us what happened?
There were?
Well, from what we saw, there was one incident early on, and I believe we assumed he made contact with you at the second, at the first chicane during the second incident. Not 100% sure. We didn't see the whole thing, but we noticed you were battling quite hard with him throughout the race.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he was holding the pack a bit up, a bit held everyone together. So I had a really tough. It was really tough to try and pass him. But I don't think before at the first stint I made, or at least big contact with him. Only in the second stint I think I made some contact with him. After the hairpin. Actually,
yeah, there was some of the hairpin. I
turn on the
believe.
left after the hairpin, the turn on the left there, down, down. There he came a bit to the inside, I believe, but yeah, I can check that later. But yeah, I had a hard time trying to pass him, and finally when I did, then I suddenly spun, not even pushing hard, so that was on myself, and then some penalties also. They were
Well, there were
going
no shortage
very
of those
easily.
today, that's for certain.
Yeah, and then at the end, just unfortunate contact with an Alpine who slipped a bit in the same corner. And then, yeah, then my race was over.
There we go. Well, unfortunate for the pair of you, but obviously one more round after this, our grand finale. Will we see you there for that? I hope we will. Be nice to get. I know everyone sort of thinks, oh, when the championship's done, there's no point doing it anymore, but it's always nice to have one final race to see out the season. Hopefully a dry one, because I don't know. I prefer dry races where everyone's confident enough to get the overtakes done. Personally, what are your thoughts?
Well, the last one is Saudi, so
Oh,
I've never seen a wet Saudi.
Oh.
Yeah.
Why can't we go to Brazil? Bugger.
Should be quite dry.
Why do we not?
Yeah.
Why do we not get a finale on Brazil? Come on. But anyway,
Well, maybe do a poll.
yeah, well, suggest it.
Just add one more race to the end. Just add one more.
I'm a commentator. I have no swing in this. But
I'm sure Basco's gonna be happy.
well, Basco won't really care either way. He's champion, as I say. So, just before we go here, though, let's do the calculations. We'll bring up our race studio again. So, does anyone have the finishing positions there?
I can check it right away.
So let me see. 26 plus 18 would be the maximum the constructor could get. So that's 38. So that's 44 points maximum that the constructors could get. McLaren got second and third today, yes? So that's 18 plus 15, which is 33.
I can't see.
And they were already 2 points ahead, so that's 35.
Alpine didn't score a single point, so
Right. So that's 35. So that's 35 points clear. So yeah. No, I mean it is still possible for Alpine. So no, sorry, it's the other way. So it would be 31 because Alpine were 2 points ahead.
A lot of calculating.
So they've closed the gap. Yeah. Hold on.
I have a feeling like they'll have to sabotage the McLaren setup if they want
Yeah.
if they want to take
Oh.
it back.
28.
The rear wing.
And 28.
Yeah, just take it off.
33.
Just take off the rear wings. I think it'll
So
be
McLaren
fine.
gained 33. 224 plus 33 is 257. 257 take away 226. Just double checking my maths here. 726 is 1. 5 take away 2 is 3. Yeah, so the gap is 31 points. McLaren lead by 31 points with a maximum of 44 up for grabs if both cars finish 1-2 and one of them takes fastest lap. So Constructors is going to the final round between Alpine and McLaren. But the ball now is in McLaren's court. The first time this season, I believe, that Alpine are not leading the Constructors. So that's something to keep an eye on. And we will certainly look forward to that in our final round in Saudi. But for now, I think we're pretty much done here. So, thanks to all the drivers again. Thank you, Eagle and Eversnacks, for coming to the interview room.
You're
Yeah,
welcome.
thank you guys for commentating, as always.
No worries. And thank you to Christian for stepping in. He was sort of put under pressure there. It's his first time doing it. But always good to have someone else in the comm box with me.
Thank you.
No worries. I believe CM Punk will be back for the final round, but if not, I would happily have Christian in here again.
It's gonna take some practice for sure.
It will. It will. It does take practice. And don't worry about stumbling over yourself. Murray Walker did that all the time, and we all feckin' love him. So you know.
Yeah.
And I've got to
Not-
stop
not
because
quite
I've
Murray
got a lump
Walker.
in my throat.
Isn't
But
that a
anyway,
song?
we will see you next week one more time on the same channel, same time, for one more round this season. We may have figured out our driver's champion, but the constructors is still up for grabs, and I'm sure there will be more than a few scores to settle around Saudi. Until then, we will see you next week, and take a very good care of yourselves, and thank you so much for watching. Bye bye, everyone.